Alright, so the whole world thinks his wife Liu Ruyan loves him to death, but she is secretly sleeping with another man. But then, on their wedding anniversary, her side piece, Xiao Jibo, sends him some highly explicit trash. After seeing proof of their affair next to the bed, Fang decides to fulfill his promise. He is going to disappear from her life forever, without even starting a single fight. No dramatic confrontation. Instead, he quietly begins deleting every trace of his existence from the system. The support agent asks if he is absolutely sure, warning him that once processed, he will completely cease to exist. He will literally become a ghost to the world, but he nods with cold determination. That is exactly what he wants. The agent on the line is confused but gets to work. They quickly confirm that the deletion process will take about 10 days to fully erase his entire grid. After hanging up, he knows there is no turning back. Fang immediately buys a one-way plane ticket abroad while the television blares a news broadcast in the background. It is a replay of his billionaire wife launching the newest luxury watch from her company. She used the rarest diamonds and gems on the planet to craft a custom timepiece for her husband. She even named this unique masterpiece Mercury to make sure everyone knew it was for him. Her goal is to tell the entire world that she only loves one man in this lifetime. The launch immediately goes viral, trending across every social media platform as the ultimate romance goal. Everyone online is gushing over their perfect fairy tale relationship after the massive press conference wraps up. Now the program transitions to a reporter interviewing random citizens about the power couple. The reporter asks a passerby if he knows about their iconic relationship. This businessman is totally hyped to gossip, saying their love is something everyone is incredibly jealous of. He mentions hearing that President Liu even published an entire book dedicated to the daily routine of Fang. It details all his favorite hobbies, including his absolute obsession with eating fresh lychees. She literally planted their entire backyard with lychee trees just to keep him happy. This guy laughs, complaining that his own wife would never put in that kind of effort. Next, the reporter interviews a young college student who is absolutely squealing with excitement. He literally calls them a real-life romance novel, bringing up what happened 3 years ago. Back then, Fang suffered from sudden kidney failure, throwing Liu Ruyan into an absolute panic. She ignored all objections to donate her own kidney to him on the exact same day she matched. She publicly declared that Fang is her entire life, making everyone think he hit the absolute jackpot. Everyone thinks meeting her was a miracle, and the next few citizens say the exact same thing. The broadcast keeps repeating on loop, and honestly, the irony here is just straight up painful to watch. Fang can only laugh bitterly at the screen, looking back at his own past. He always had plenty of girls chasing him, but the early divorce of his parents made him cynical about romance. He rejected every single confession, keeping his heart completely locked away from the world. But then Liu Ruyan showed up, and she was entirely different from anyone he had met. She relentlessly pursued him for 3 whole years, enduring countless rejections without ever backing down. Instead of quitting, the constant setbacks only made her more determined to win him over. She was willing to push herself to the absolute limit just to make him smile. This girl even ran an exhausting 100-mile marathon just to win him a rare collector's card he wanted. That stunt almost killed her, but it finally cracked his frozen heart. Once they got together, her affection for him never faded. Her intense devotion slowly warmed up his cold soul with genuine warmth and care. This absolute queen proposed a whopping 520 times before he finally agreed to take the leap. When he finally agreed to marry her, he made her a solemn promise. He swore to be her devoted husband through wealth or poverty, promising to never abandon her. There is only one golden rule he lives by: absolutely zero betrayal. Mess up once and you lose him forever. But those beautiful, sweet memories of their past completely shattered by a brutal reality. Everything went up in smoke. It turns out 2 months ago, he found out Liu Ruyan was keeping a secret boyfriend, hanging out with him by day. But spending her nights with that other guy? Talk about a master of time management. He could only let out a bitter, self-deprecating laugh. He shuts off the television and pulls out the divorce papers he had ready. He decisively signs his name on the paper, determined to stick to his word. He is going to vanish from her life forever, right after signing. He packs the signed divorce papers into a beautiful, fancy gift box. Half an hour after wrapping it, Liu Ruyan finally walks through the door. She immediately runs over to hug him, apologizing over and over. She claims she was late because she went to pick up a luxury watch. She completely missed their big wedding anniversary and begs him to forgive her. She hands over the luxury watch to make up for it, but her white collar is slightly messy. The top button is undone, exposing a very fresh, obvious hickey on her neck. The sight completely stings his eyes. Was she really picking up a watch? Or was she sleeping with her side piece, Xiao Jibo? Honestly, she probably just got out of Xiao Jibo's bed, yet she acts completely clueless and fails to notice his cold face. With eyes full of affection, she slips the watch onto his wrist, making it gleam brightly. She praises how elegant it makes him look, completely proud of her gift. But his heart is dead silent. Instead, he hands her the gift box containing the divorce papers. She takes the box, completely clueless about the massive plot twist inside. He forces a faint smile, telling her it is a gift for her. Since she got him an anniversary gift, it is only fair he returns the favor. This immediately makes her super excited, thinking he's being sweet. She treats it like a rare treasure and tries to open it, but he stops her. He tells her to wait 10 days, leaving her pretty confused. He acts mysterious, claiming the gift will mean so much more if opened in 10 days. She is slightly stunned, but she decides not to question him. She gently kisses his forehead, saying she will do whatever her husband wants. She is eager for the surprise, acting like an incredibly obedient puppy. She even writes a sticky note on the box, reminding herself of the 10-day rule. He silently watches her do all this, thinking about how fake she is. Let us see if she actually finds it a surprise when she opens it. The next morning, she wakes him up with a sweet morning kiss, like she always does. She brings up how sorry she is for missing their big anniversary yesterday. She suggests making it up to him with a fun trip to the gaming mall. He has absolutely zero interest and is just about to say no. But she is already packing up all their gear, rushing them out the door. Once they arrive, she is completely focused on him, hovering constantly. The moment he merely purses his lips, she immediately offers him a drink. And when he glances at a 3D simulator, she instantly buys the ticket. She does not care how boring the games are. As long as he is happy, she is all in. Liu Ruyan holds Shui's hand tightly, never letting go even when he tries to pull away. She grips his hand and even buys the matching smart couple bracelets to stay connected. She smiles and tells him that this way, Shui will never get lost. Never get lost? Honestly, Liu Ruyan lost him a long time ago. This time, she is losing him forever. Later, during their lunch break, she anxiously stares at her phone, suddenly noticing him looking over. She quickly apologizes and tells Shui she has some urgent company work to handle right away. She tells him to eat first, but the face slap comes faster than anyone expected. A massive luxury castle gift effect suddenly flashes across her phone screen. She is actually watching a live stream instead of working. Honestly, I cannot believe her audacity. He sneaks a look at Xiao Jibo's stream, a guy who was always just a minor influencer. But not long ago, Liu Ruyan signed this random guy to her own agency. She even made him the face of their biggest brand, sparking massive rumors online. Everyone online is whispering that this guy must have a rich sugar mommy backing him. And that sugar mommy is literally Liu Ruyan. Right now, the influencer is flexing outside a massive esports mall. He holds up his phone, proudly bragging to his massive audience to look closely. He claims his girlfriend gifted him this entire esports mall and promises discounts to his viewers. Seeing this guy invite everyone to play, Shui's hand starts shaking in pure disbelief. The chat immediately calls Cap, telling him to stop bragging on the internet. They laugh at him, saying a minor influencer like him could never bag a wealthy CEO. They accuse him of chasing clout, but the guy puts on a sad face and denies lying. Then he actually whips out the official property deed, and his name is written right there. The live stream instantly explodes as viewers start spamming apologies for being so blind. They just witnessed a real sugar mommy buying a whole shopping mall without a second thought. This level of spoiling matches President Liu, who is famous for treating her husband like royalty. Viewers ask why they can't find a sugar mommy like that, but there are only two. One is President Liu herself, and the other is this guy's mysterious girlfriend. The chat starts debating whether President Liu loves her husband, Mr. Fang, more Or if this influencer's girlfriend loves him more, telling viewers to vote in the chat. A flood of ones fills the screen immediately. After all, Liu Ruyan is legendary for literally risking her life and spending fortunes on her husband. Suddenly, a massive donor account drops in and gives 10,000 expensive rocket effects at once. Insane special effects cover the screen, and with this massive wave of support, the stream viewership instantly rockets to over 10 million people. Then, a huge highlighted message flashes across the screen saying, "Of course I love Jibo more." The chat goes wild over this romance, and the influencer is grinning from ear to ear. Glowing with absolute smugness, he brags to everyone that he told them his girl loved him. Watching this, Shui clenches his fists and looks up from his phone. He catches Liu Ruyan smiling warmly at her screen, full of affection, confirming she is that big donor. It feels like a dagger to the heart, but the pain is starting to fade into numbness. He cannot even feel the physical ache, only clutching his chest as the betrayal sinks in. He struggles to breathe, and that is when Liu Ruyan finally notices his sudden distress. She rushes over in a panic, desperately asking what is wrong with him. Her terror seems so genuine, acting as if her entire world would end if he died. But this is the exact same woman who supposedly loves him, yet lied to his face for years. Shui tries his best to control his emotions, telling her he just lost his breath. Liu Ruyan immediately rushes to rub his chest, asking over and over if he is really going to be okay. She quickly helps him back to rest, trying to cheer him up with some jokes along the way. But even though she tells them with so much energy, he just sits there with a completely cold expression. Leaning his head against the cold glass, he stares blankly at the dark streets passing by. Watching the scenery fade, she quietly asks if she did something to make him mad. Seeing her act so incredibly cautious around him, he finally opens his mouth and says no. He tells her he was just thinking about a drama he watched earlier, making her instantly sigh in absolute relief. She immediately smiles and asks him what kind of show it was. He slowly turns his head to look her dead in the eyes, explaining that the main couple used to be deeply in love. But eventually, the girl fell in love with someone else and kept the guy in the dark the whole time. He silently locks his gaze on her face, searching for even the smallest hint of guilt in her expression. Then, with a freezing cold voice, he asks her what she would do if she fell for another man. Before he can even finish his sentence, she panics and quickly cuts him off right in the middle. As if she cannot even bear the thought, she insists that he is the absolute love of her entire life. She promises that even if the whole world turns on him, she would never dream of betraying him. Hearing those sweet words only makes his chest ache with an unbearable pain. If she really cannot live without him, then why could she not resist the temptation of another man? Just as he is about to call her out, her phone suddenly starts vibrating with an incoming call. She hesitates for a second and tries to decline it, but he gently pushes her hand and tells her to answer. Picking the phone up, whatever the person on the other end says completely changes her mood. Her expression instantly turns awkward, and he can clearly see her nervous throat swallowing as she speaks. She hangs up the call, looks at him, and lies that something urgent just came up at the office. Claiming she has to rush over, she offers to hail him a taxi instead. He does not argue at all, simply nodding his head before stepping out of her car. Standing on the sidewalk, he silently watches her expensive luxury car speed away into the dark night. But instead of heading back to his villa, he quickly flags down a taxi and tells the driver to follow her. The taxi driver does not ask any unnecessary questions and just quietly tails the luxury car from a safe distance. Her car eventually stops right outside a private villa, where a sharp-suited man is waiting. As soon as she steps out of the car, the man smiles widely and eagerly wraps his arms around her. The man is Xiao Jibo, and the woman is Liu Ruyan. This is sickening. They barely even touch before they start passionately and desperately kissing each other right there in the open. After a long, passionate moment, Xiao Jibo finally pulls back, trying to catch his breath. Gently stroking her cheek, he calls her baby and whispers that he has a much bigger surprise waiting inside for her. When he asks if she wants to see it, her throat tightens and she swallows hard. She tightly grabs his hand, her eyes completely filled with an undeniable look of desire. In a breathless whisper, she tells him she drove a half-hour trip in 15 minutes just to see him. She asks if he really needs to ask, making Xiao Jibo let out a low smirk. He hooks his fingers with hers and guides her back into the car, where they both quickly slide into the back seat. Before long, the vehicle starts shaking gently, and Shui is forced to watch this entire nightmare from his cab. He thought he had already given up on her, but seeing this with his own eyes, honestly, it is low-key heartbreaking. The pain is so intense that he can barely breathe, desperately clutching his chest to stop the agony. Gasping heavily for air, he remembers how back when they first started dating, she used to cherish him and protect him. Even when they got caught up in the moment, she would stop herself, claiming their first time together was sacred. 3 years of chasing, all for one perfect wedding night. They finally made it to the big night. Liu Ruyan was blushing head to toe as she undressed. She cherished the moment so deeply. He felt incredibly loved while she literally cried tears of joy repeatedly, whispering gently, "You are finally mine. I love you." He truly believed this was peak happiness, that no one would ever love him more than her. But she destroyed that oath. Seeing him break down, the driver sighed. Anyone would be heartbroken. Even the driver was trapped in his marriage because of the kids. His voice cracked. Pausing, he told our boy to stay strong. Sometimes you just have to turn a blind eye. But he squeezed the tissue with total ice-cold resolve. He would never forgive her. Back home, he gathered every single gift she ever bought him. He called an agent, sell it all, and donate every single cent to charity. Within an hour, everything was shipped out. Then he started packing his own bags, but midway through, Liu Ruyan suddenly burst inside. Drenched and freezing from the rain, she did not even change. She rushed over, trembling. "Why did you sell the Mercury watch? A luxury piece like that only goes through auction." She must have seen the listing. He just coldly asked why she was at an auction. She flinched, eyes darting around, claiming she wanted to buy him a belt. For him or Xiao Jibo? After the side piece threw her a party, she had to pay him back. He calmly told her it was donated. Grabbing his hand, she panicked. "Donate anything else, but absolutely not this watch." She pulled a box out. It was the exact same Mercury watch, shining as always. She bought it back as proof of her love, forcing it back onto his wrist. Looking at his wrist, our boy could only laugh at this clown behavior. Her acting was straight up legendary, sprinting straight back from her side piece to play the doting wife, and immediately spewing sweet lies later that night. Then her phone suddenly starts ringing, and she scrambles to decline. But seconds later, it started buzzing again. After the phone rings a few times, Ruyan frowns, totally worried she might wake up Shui. She finally picks up. The voice is loud. In the quiet room, you can literally hear every single word. Her friends are begging her to come out because the whole squad is already there. But Ruyan shuts them down instantly. She tells them she is sleeping with Shui and tries to hang up right then. The girls call her whipped. Honestly, she basically vanished from her friends' lives after getting married. The background noise on the call is wild, and they complain she is being too dramatic. Ruyan covers the mic. Quiet down. She drops a major line saying nobody in the world is more important than her husband. But they are not giving up. They take turns on the phone, absolutely determined to drag her out tonight. With the noise waking him up, Shui finally speaks up. He tells her to go hang out. Ruyan is super reluctant, but he insists she should go. So she compromises. He has to come along or she is staying home. The girls over the phone immediately jump on this and beg him to join them. They call him brother-in-law, begging him to come out. They know Ruyan won't budge without him, so he finally nods yes. Only then does she agree to leave, but the moment they open the VIP room door, they see her friends practically covered in a dozen host club guys. Ruyan is instantly disgusted and immediately turns to walk out. Realizing she is dead serious, her friends immediately kick all the guys out. Once the room is completely cleared, her friends just sigh at her. One of them wraps an arm around her, laughing that she has not changed a bit. They tease that she only has eyes for her husband, but she just pushes them away. She proudly declares she is a married woman and needs to make her man feel secure. She roasts them for being single, which honestly gets a huge laugh. She looks at Shui with absolute devotion, even though they are out with her squad. Literally, her entire focus is on him, completely ignoring everyone else. When someone offers a drink, she immediately rejects it because he dislikes her drinking. They ask her to sing, but she just tells him to turn it off because Shui likes peace. Shutting down all the party vibes, she starts peeling fruit for him like a dedicated housewife. Honestly, her knife skills are crazy, and she soon serves up a perfect fruit platter. She holds it out, sweetly telling her husband to take a bite. Then she notices he is only wearing a thin shirt while the AC is blasting. She instantly grabs his coat and carefully wraps it around his shoulders. She asks if he is still cold, making her friends squeal at how insanely sweet she is. They tell Ruyan she totally deserves her man, but Shui just stays quiet. Honestly, he is completely done playing along with her perfect wife act and says he is leaving. Ruyan immediately jumps up to follow, but her friends quickly block her path. They tell her that her husband needs his rest, but she needs to stay and party. They say the party is dead if she leaves, so she should let him get his beauty sleep. They tell her to stay, and right then, Shui cold shoulders her and pulls his hand away. He tells her the driver will take him back while she keeps partying. With that, Shui turns to leave, and though Liu Ruyan tries to grab him, he walks away without looking back and tells the driver to head straight home. But right as they pull away, he realizes something.
He finds Liu Ruyan's phone in his pocket and immediately tells the driver to turn around.
The moment the car stops back at the bar, he spots someone. It is Xiao Jibo getting out of a cab and rushing straight inside. Shui grips the phone tight and quietly follows right behind him. Sure enough, the guy stops right outside Liu Ruyan's private room. The moment Xiao Jibo walks in, he pulls Liu Ruyan straight into a hug. He kisses her forehead and she immediately buries her face in his chest. Playfully pinching her nose, the guy asks why she got there so fast. Xiao Jibo smiles, says he rushed over the second she called because he did not want her waiting. Liu Ruyan blushes, telling him he deserves a reward for being so fast. She plants a passionate kiss right on his lips. This is actually nauseating to watch, guys. Her friends do not even look surprised, while Shui just stands outside the door. Watching everything through the crack in the door, his heart completely freezes. He was the only one kept in the dark. Everyone else was just playing along. One of her friends giggles. Now that Jibo is here, they can finally start. They want to play some wilder party games, laughing with wicked grins on their faces.
With a clap of her hands, the guys who got kicked out earlier are brought back.
Now every single girl in the room has a guy sitting right next to her. It is a classic game of spin the bottle, and the rules are simple. Whoever the bottle points to has to choose truth or dare. After a few quick rounds, the bottle finally stops, pointing directly at Liu Ruyan.
The whole room starts cheering as the hype builds up.
Her friend asks when her last time was, and everyone knows exactly what she means. Without missing a beat, Liu Ruyan calmly replies, "Yesterday," in the Rolls Royce. That answer instantly sends the entire room into absolute chaos. When they ask how it felt, she licks her lips and says it was pretty fun. Her friend laughs. Told you so, the forbidden fruit always tastes sweeter. She tells Ruyan that for people with their status, having side guys is totally normal. As long as she keeps it hidden, she can have her fun, and Fang Shui will never know. But hearing Shui name, Ruyan's face instantly drops, warns them not to let Shui find out. Her friends quickly promise that her fiancé will never find out about this. Every single word pierces straight through Shui as the laughter inside continues. His heart is completely shattered, and his legs feel too numb to even stand. He stumbles out like a walking corpse, and his driver immediately notices something is wrong. The driver wants to go inside to get Ruyan, but Shui stops him. He says he wants to walk alone and orders him never to tell her he returned. After sending the driver away, he wanders down the empty, silent streets all by himself. Right then, a heavy downpour starts, almost as if the sky itself is crying for him. But he feels absolutely nothing. The freezing rain only makes his mind sharper. He just walks with no direction for hours. It feels even longer than the night they walked home in the snow when they were 16. So it turns out loving someone, or not really, is just a split-second thing. The moment our guy gets home, he comes down with a massive fever. The fever just won't break, and to make things worse, Ruyan stumbles home completely drunk. She finds him unconscious, his entire body burning hot to the touch. She instantly panics and immediately has her driver rush him to the hospital. By the time he finally regains consciousness, he can barely force his heavy eyelids open. The nurse tending to him is absolutely thrilled to see him awake, calling out to Mr. Zhang. She says he is finally awake, explaining his fever lasted a whole day and night, worrying President Liu to death. She adds that President Liu stayed by his bedside the entire time, only leaving after taking a call just now. The nurse asks if she should call her, knowing his wife would be thrilled to hear he is awake. But he just shakes his head, his voice completely hoarse as he whispers that it is not necessary. Once the nurse finishes changing his medication and leaves, this massive hospital room instantly falls completely silent. It is so quiet that he can actually hear Ruyan on the phone out in the hallway. She is usually a super calm and composed boss, only ever losing her cool in front of him. But right now, her voice over the call is actually bursting with pure joy and excitement. A moment later, Ruyan walks away, and he musters up all his strength to drag himself out of bed. He slowly follows her down the hall, only to see Ruyan standing there with Jibo. They are holding each other close, looking exactly like a couple deeply in love. Talk about a romantic reunion. But suddenly, the homewrecker Jibo spots our guy standing nearby. He acts completely shocked, calling out to Mr. Zhang and claiming it is such a crazy coincidence. He asks if he is hospitalized too, making Ruyan look up. Her eyes lock right with his, and her entire body instantly goes dead stiff with guilt. She quickly drops Jibo's hand, calling him a Shui and stammering that she was just getting his medicine. She lies, claiming she just ran into Jibo and almost slipped on the floor. Ruyan nervously adds that thankfully Jibo caught her, desperately trying to talk her way out of this. Our guy coldly plays along and thanks him, but this cheeky homewrecker actually has the absolute nerve to invite him out. He cheekily asks if they should all grab dinner together since everyone is free. Ruyan's face instantly drops and she shoots Jibo an incredibly dark warning glare. Shutting him down, she snaps that it is fine because her husband does not have time for this. Then she turns to hold him, looking into his eyes with fake affection and calling him Ashui. She tells him to rest up in his room, loudly calling Jibo nothing but a basic brand spokesperson to appease him. She tells him to ignore him, but hearing Ruyan talk down on him like that totally crushes Jibo. Jibo's face turns completely white, and he hangs his head, acting all sad and miserable. He mutters that he is not worthy of dining with Mr. Zhang, petulantly turning around to storm off. Ruyan's face shifts as she instinctively takes a step to chase after her side piece. But remembering her sick husband is standing right there, she is forced to stop and stay put. After grabbing his medicine, they head home, but Ruyan is acting incredibly distracted and distant the whole time. The entire drive home, she is completely spaced out, quickly dumping him there, using work as a sudden, desperate excuse. She locks herself in the study, and the second our guy steps back into his room, his phone buzzes. He instantly gets a toxic text from Jibo containing an incredibly intimate photo of them hooking up during their last session. Then comes a flood of toxic, mocking messages, warning him not to think Ruyan actually loves him at all. The text sneers that if she really loved him, then Jibo wouldn't even be in the picture. He boasts about how much Ruyan adores him, claiming that every single year on his birthday, and even on their wedding anniversary, she just waits until he falls asleep to sneak out. They have done it in her private Rolls-Royce and right inside her luxury corporate CEO office. And they even left traces in their very own marriage bed before ending the text with a toxic teaser. Tonight, Liu Ruyan is setting off fireworks across the entire city just for him. Looking at those toxic, provocative texts on his phone, he just suppresses his anger. He takes a deep breath and quickly locks his screen. Right then, Liu Ruyan hugs him from behind, asking what her husband is looking at. She rests her chin on his shoulder, staring at his completely dark screen. He says it is nothing, but his eyes are red as the sky suddenly explodes with fireworks. It is an absolute spectacle, and seeing him completely zone out while watching? Liu Ruyan gets all doting, asking if he loves watching this and promising him an even grander show. He just gives her a bitter, helpless smile, softly calling out her name. I do not like secondhand things, he says, whether it is people or fireworks. Hearing him mention the fireworks, Liu Ruyan instantly freezes in shock. She looks at him with pure confusion, her body visibly shaking with panic.
She wraps her arms even tighter around him, promising a different surprise instead.
She vows never to let him feel left out, but he just stares silently into the distance. He does not bother to reply, and for the next few days, Liu Ruyan acts super sketchy, sneaking out early and coming back late, raising everyone's eyebrows. The maids tease him, saying Miss Liu must be secretly planning another big surprise. First, it was that custom watch, and now she is preparing even more gifts. Talk about endless surprises, but honestly, our boy is just listening with a completely blank face.
He has zero reaction, until this day.
Liu Ruyan excitedly grabs his hand and drags him out the door. She tells Shui she is taking him somewhere he will absolutely love. Just as he's about to refuse, his phone suddenly buzzes. It is a text from the homewrecker, Xiao Jibo, asking who she really loves more. Is it you or is it me? And then, boom! Right on cue, Liu Ruyan's phone buzzes too, and no shot, he catches a quick glance. He sees that Xiao Jibo sent her a total thirst trap, showing off his 8-pack. With a direct text saying, "Last call, do not make me wait." Liu Ruyan's eyes immediately go dark, her throat visibly tightening. After a few tense seconds, she pockets the phone, claiming a work project crashed. She claims she must rush to the office, promising she will take him out next time. He just stares deeply into her lying eyes and lets out a cold laugh. He tells her whatever and walks right back inside the house. Liu Ruyan hesitates for 3 seconds before slamming the gas and speeding off. A few hours later, the side piece sends over a picture of a trash can. It is full of used protection, with a text saying he lost again. He brags that one photo was all it took to make her run over. Xiao Jibo is mocking him, boasting about how obsessed she is with him. But looking at those trashy photos, he does not even reply. At this point, he is completely done, so these cheap mind games cannot hurt him. For the next few days, Liu Ruyan does not even bother coming home. And he does not ask, busy purging his presence from the house. He wants every single trace of himself gone from her life. If he is leaving, he is vanishing completely, so he sets up a fire pit. He burns every couple photo they ever took, then calls over some workers. She literally had every single lychee tree in the backyard bulldozed just because her side piece pointed at him. The next morning, Fang Shui wakes up. He freezes. His long-lost wife, Liu Ruyan, is standing by the bed holding his phone. She looks highly suspicious. She tells him a text just came in saying his account was successfully deleted. "What are you deleting?" His heart completely stops. He quickly grabs his phone and sees the confirmation text for his identity deletion. Thank God for lock screens. Play it cool. He claims it was just some hacked social media account. Unsafe, so he deleted it. Liu Ruyan sighs in relief, diving into his arms and acting all sweet. "Guess what snack I bought?" He just flinches. He quietly guesses Hexy's glutinous rice cakes, making her look totally shocked. She acts offended, but the irony is insane. See, back when they were dating, every time she made him mad, she had a routine. She would run all the way to Hexy to buy these exact treats. The sweet aroma would melt his anger instantly. He never cared about luxury cars or mansions, just this simple gesture. She giggles, saying her husband is just way too easy to win over. But he wasn't just easy to please. He only forgave her because he loved her, but those days are long gone. He even warned her that if he ever stopped loving her, nothing would save them. The memory fades. She pulls out the box of rice cakes, smiling like she can read them like a book. Fang Shui just smiles and slowly tells her that yes, she can never hide anything from him. His heavy tone suddenly makes her heart skip. Spooky vibe. He just heads to wash up. When he comes out of the bathroom, he notices she is already rushing out in a panic. He follows her, then completely freezes at the door. Her side piece, Xiao Jibo, is literally standing right there, right at their own villa. But Liu Ruyan panics, rushing right over. With a furious face, she grabs his hand and asks if he has completely lost his mind.
She demands to know why he came, since she explicitly banned him whenever Feng Shui is around.
Hearing her yell, Xiao Jibo instantly gets teary-eyed. He whines that he only wanted to see her and promised not to get close. Coldly pulling her hand back, she tells him to stop acting up and leave with her assistant. She promises to visit. He stubbornly refuses. He refuses. He wants her. Then he pulls her collar down and kisses her right on the lips. She tries to push it away at first, but the guy holds on tight. Suddenly, she pulls him close, kissing passionately. They are making out in the garden like nobody is watching, completely lost in each other. She pushes him away. Leave. But Xiao Jibo still clings to her, unwilling to let her go. What on earth did Fu say to make Liu Ruyan's face completely drop like that? She finally relents and tells him she will spend the day with him if he gets in the car first. She promises she will be right over, and Xiao Jibo smiles, getting exactly what he wanted. His eyes squint into a smug grin as he happily climbs into the vehicle.
Seeing that Liu Ruyan is about to head back inside, Shui quickly turns and slips away.
Moments later, Liu Ruyan walks through the front door, immediately calling out for Shui. She tells him she really wanted to stay with him today, but she just received a call. An emergency came up at work, so she absolutely must go out.
She tells him to be good and wait at home, promising she will spend the whole day with him later.
She anxiously waits for his response, but he simply looks up and gives her a cold stare. With just that one look, she is completely stunned. She realizes that her once loving Shui has absolutely no light left in his eyes. Liu Ruyan unconsciously calls out his name again, trying to find something else to say. But he beats her to it, forcing a faint smile onto his face. His voice is incredibly soft and flat as he simply tells her to go ahead and do her thing. Since he acts completely normal, she finally lets her guard down and relaxes. Casting her doubts aside, she plants a quick kiss on his cheek. As she turns and leaves, the sound of her car engine soon echoes from outside. The sound of her driving away fades further and further into the distance until it is completely gone. The moment she leaves, his fake smile completely vanishes. Honestly, this is low-key heartbreaking. He silently wipes his tears away and dumps every single handmade mochi straight into the trash can. Heading back to his room, he pulls out the suitcase he packed days ago. After taking one long, final look around the empty house, he sends Liu Ruyan a parting text message. Before the 10 days are up.
He texts her to open the wedding anniversary gift he left, and she replies almost instantly.
She texts back that she will be home soon so they can open it together. He laughs bitterly at her text, because from now on, she will be entirely on her own for the rest of her life. He forwards every single taunting text message Xiao Jibo had sent him over the past weeks directly to Liu Ruyan. Without any hesitation, he destroys his SIM card and walks out the front door carrying his suitcase for the last time. Outside, the sun is shining and a gentle breeze blows. From this moment on, absolutely no one will ever be able to find Fang Shui again. Using a temporary identity card, he heads to the airport, boarding a flight to start a brand new life. He leaves everything behind and lands safely in a beautiful foreign country. He takes on a new identity, living peacefully as the owner of a quiet coastal homestay. Meanwhile, back home, Liu Ruyan is about to absolutely lose her mind. Let's rewind a few hours. After she drives Xiao Jibo home, the clingy guy still holds onto her hand tightly. He acts incredibly clingy, begging her to come upstairs to his apartment since she is already there. As he speaks, he flirtatiously traces small, suggestive circles right in the palm of her hand. She hesitates, feeling a sudden, inexplicable wave of panic wash over her. An inexplicable panic grips her heart, making her refuse his invitation to go upstairs. She tells him to go on home because she needs to get back to Shui. Pushing Xiao Jibo's hand away, she remembers the promise she had just made to her husband. She knows she hasn't spent real time with him lately, and she does not want him getting upset. Thinking of her husband brings a small, genuine smile to Liu Ruyan's lips. She genuinely feels happy thinking of it, but Xiao Jibo suddenly wraps his arms around her waist, refusing to let go. Xiao Jibo asks if she still wants to see him in that outfit since she drove him back. He teases her that if she misses this chance, he is never wearing it again. As his hand starts sliding under her clothes, Liu Ruyan instantly freezes and her expression turns cold. She tries to object, reminding him that she made a promise to her husband, Shui. But of course, after a few smooth moves from Xiao Jibo, she completely folds and gives in. A few hours later, she fixes her messy outfit to make sure everything looks normal. After making sure there are zero wrinkles to hide her guilt, she drives straight back home. She calls out for a Shui, apologizing for taking so long to get back. But before she can even finish her excuse, Liu Ruyan senses that something is seriously wrong. The villa is dead silent, and there is absolutely no sign of a Shui anywhere.
In the trash can, those sweet glutinous rice cakes are lying there completely untouched. Her heart instantly drops, and she starts frantically scanning the living room for any sign of life.
Honestly, she is probably just hoping that Shui will pop out and surprise her any second.
She calls out his name over and over, her voice echoing through the empty house.
At this point, panic is fully setting in as a terrifying thought starts creeping into her mind. Has Shui actually walked out on her? No shot. She refuses to believe it.
She mutters to herself that he is just playing a prank and begs him to stop hiding.
Did they not promise to unwrap that gift from 10 days ago together?
She even apologizes, saying she was in the wrong for choosing work over him that morning.
She keeps pacing around, desperately looking for any clue of where he went. She is still trying to find where Shui is hiding, but then, boom, reality hits.
She suddenly notices that the villa looks way too spacious. Tons of things are actually missing.
All their photos, completely gone. This is where she starts losing her mind, because literally every memory of them is wiped clean. Even their massive wedding portrait is gone, prompting her to rush out to the backyard. But when she looks outside, the spot where the lychee trees used to stand is completely flat.
It is like those trees never existed, and the servants are already busy planting grass over the bald patch. Furious, she snaps at the gardeners, demanding to know who allowed them to do this.
She demands to know where the hell her precious lychee trees went. Under her harsh tone, you can low-key hear her voice trembling with pure anxiety. The confused servants stammer out that 3 days ago, Shui gave them a direct order. Mr. Fang told them to tear down all the lychee trees and burn them to ashes.
Since they knew Shui lived there, they did not hesitate to follow his instructions.
The servants exchange worried glances, terrified that they are about to get fired. Burned? She stumbles back in shock. This hits her like a truck, and she can barely even keep her balance. She dryly asks if anyone knows where Shui went or when he left the house. She licks her dry lips, her voice cracking as she waits for an answer. The servants just shake their heads, saying Shui left with packed suitcases first thing in the morning. They have no clue, leaving her wondering where on earth Shui could have gone. Now she is completely spiraling, desperately trying to think of his potential hiding spots. His parents both remarried and have their own families, so he would never turn to them. Her only option left is to start spamming Shui's friends for answers. She calls one of them, introducing herself and asking if Shui is staying over. But the friend just laughs it off, asking why on earth Fang Shuixing would ever be with them. Honestly, this conversation happens countless times. Even Liu Ruyan's own friends are asking. Absolutely nobody knows where Shui went. Pure, unfiltered despair.
The agonizing feeling hits her repeatedly, dragging her right back to a past without him.
He was her absolute love, basically her entire world. This sudden heartbreak, it is completely tearing her apart. She begs Shui to stop playing around, crying out that she just needs him. Liu Ruyan screams hysterically until her throat is raw, her eyes completely bloodshot with tears. Suddenly, she remembers something and rushes upstairs to the study in a panic.
She quickly tears into the wedding anniversary gift Shui had left for her.
Holding that gift box like her ultimate lifeline, she cradles it with pure desperation. She desperately hopes Shui left a hidden message inside, telling her where to find him. Muttering frantically to herself like a madwoman, she rips apart the layers of wrapping paper. She opens the box. Inside is a divorce agreement signed by Shui. It stares right back at her. No way. This is impossible.
She clutches the divorce papers in a death grip, collapsing into her chair completely stunned.
She literally can't believe her eyes because Shui loved her so damn much. How could he ever abandon her? She frantically wonders who swapped out his actual gift. Still completely in denial, Liu Ruyan immediately rounds up every single servant in the villa to find answers.
She interrogates them one by one, demanding to know who touched the box in her desk.
The servants quickly explain they only do cleaning and would never touch anything without permission. They insist they would never overstep, pleading with her if she doesn't believe them. They tell her she can check the security cameras to get the whole truth. Even though every worker denies the accusation, Liu Ruyan still refuses to back down. But once the security footage starts fast-forwarding right in front of her, reality finally smacks her hard.
Honestly, how could she not know? The box in her hand says it all.
It is the exact one Shui left 10 days ago, and she was just desperately clinging to denial. In just 30 short minutes, the mental torment she feels is like an entire century.
All those frantic questions were just a desperate hope for some kind of miracle.
She wanted to hear that Shui did not want to leave, but reality is brutally cruel. Liu Ruyan stares blankly at the signature on the divorce papers, completely devastated. Shui has truly given up on her, wanting nothing to do with her anymore. But why did it happen? She keeps asking herself in the empty room.
Every single interaction she had with Shui lately starts flashing through her mind.
She drags up and analyzes every little memory, desperately replaying the past. All those tiny, subtle red flags are suddenly rising to the surface, crystal clear. Perhaps Shui had already figured out she was cheating on him a long time ago. Liu Ruyan realizes this now, though she honestly thought she hid it perfectly from him. Balancing her husband and her side piece, Xiao Jibo, she thought she was being smart. She treated Xiao Jibo as just a side piece, someone she'd never bring near Shui. She assumed Shui would never catch her, but she was dead wrong.
He knew everything. When did he first realize? How could Shui be this cold-hearted, divorcing her and vanishing from her life completely?
Tears start welling up in her eyes, completely blurring her vision as she cries.
That is when Liu Ruyan suddenly remembers the promise Shui made when they first married.
He promised to do his best as her Mr. Fang, but warned he'd never tolerate any deception.
He warned her if she ever lied, he would vanish from her life forever.
Back then, Liu Ruyan arrogantly assumed he would never leave.
She thought his deep love meant she could get away with absolutely anything.
He was literally willing to tear his own heart out to prove his loyalty, just to show her. Then everything changed. Was it the constant toxic peer pressure or the boring routine of marriage? Plus, the endless homewreckers hitting on her made her lose her pure heart. She chose to go with the flow, constantly chasing cheap thrills. She fell for Xiao Jibo's trashy seduction, ignoring friends who tried to warn her. As Shui had no clue, treating her with pure kindness as always. His gentle love made her get lost in her own fantasy.
She arrogantly believed she could keep both men perfectly under her control.
But she forgot, Shui never took betrayal lightly. His parents' broken marriage was a painful warning right before his eyes. He refused to repeat their mistakes, staying in a toxic loop for kids. His parents ended up as bitter mortal enemies. Even their love for him was destroyed by their non-stop daily arguments. They actually grew to hate him, looking at him with pure disgust. Once Shui found out, there is no way he would tolerate it. He has his own pride, and once his heart was shattered this badly, there was no fixing it. A clean break was better than their fate. He knew Liu Ruyan way too well. He knew that if she got any hint that he wanted a divorce, she would never let him leave, using every toxic trick to trap him.
So our boy abandoned everything abroad, completely dropping his entire past identity. He chose to vanish completely.
Now that the truth has finally hit her, Liu Yuan is literally drowning in regret.
She keeps crying out that she cannot let him go.
In a complete panic, she instinctively tries to tear the divorce agreement. But she suddenly stops. This paper might actually be the very last thing he left for her. Without this, she won't have a single piece of him left. She slowly traces his signature over and over, her eyes filled with longing. She begs his memory. Shui, it is all my fault. She claims she only loves him, begging him to hit or curse her. Just do not leave me.
She repeats her useless apologies countless times to the cold, empty room.
Her voice goes completely hoarse, that the man she betrayed is gone. It is all useless now, but she screams that she has not signed.
She gasps that they are still legally husband and wife.
With crazy determination, she vows to search the world for him.
She lies to herself that he can never let go of her.
She will apologize, but she refuses to accept him leaving. Her eyes burn with a crazy resolve as she carefully locks the agreement away. At least she still has his photos to feed her obsession.
She scrambles through the entire house, desperately searching for any trace of Fang Shui.
But our guy was ruthless. He had already destroyed everything that could remind him of her. Unused clothes were sold or thrown away, and he even swapped out every single piece of furniture.
Absolutely nothing of hers was left behind. But right then,
Xiao Jibo suddenly calls her up, saying he just saw Mercury being put up for auction online.
What did you say? Liu Ruyan's heart immediately drops.
She slams the phone down before he can even start stirring the drama. She immediately barks orders to Assistant Yu to check if Mercury is actually back on the auction block. And if it is, she wants it bought back no matter the cost.
It takes a solid while before her assistant finally calls back with an update.
He hesitates, completely terrified to break the bad news that they are too late. Mercury has already been snatched up by an overseas collector. And just like that, Liu Ruyan's phone slips from her hand, crashing straight onto the floor. The screen shatters into pieces, leaving her in absolute disbelief over being just a minute too late. She can't accept it because Mercury literally symbolized all of his love for her. She already sold it out once, so how could she let it be sold off again? Now she's finally asking herself if his love ever meant anything to her at all.
She looks down in total despair, completely overwhelmed by grief and regret.
Now that even his token of love is gone, she panics, wondering if he will end up belonging to someone else too. Honestly, she can't even face that reality, remembering how he fell for her at first sight. He was so set on spending his entire life with her, dreaming of endless, beautiful futures. Every single dream had a happy ending, yet here they are, completely broken. At this point, she absolutely loathes herself, but she hates Xiao Jibo even more. If that homewrecker hadn't showed up, maybe things would be totally different. Now Liu Ruyan is left all alone in that massive, empty house, looking pathetic as hell.
She even digs through the trash to carefully pull out a discarded mochi.
It's completely cold and has lost all of its sweetness, but she doesn't care. She holds onto it like it's pure gold, simply because it was Fang Shuixing's absolute favorite.
He hadn't even taken a single bite before leaving, and that's when she spots something else in the garbage.
It's his old SIM card, and she scrambles to pull it out and quickly wipes it clean.
She slips it into her own phone, desperately pretending that he's somehow still right there with her.
She just wants to talk to him again, but then the screen suddenly lights up.
It's a text from a very familiar number, reading, Fang Shuixing, Ruyan loves me the most.
Did you really think selling that jewelry would actually make her crawl back to you? Guess what? We were literally just messing around in this exact bed today. And then, boom, a picture of a completely messy bed pops up on her screen. She's literally shaking with rage. So it was you, she mutters, her voice turning ice cold. She realizes this clown was trying to taunt Fang Shuixing, completely unaware that she has his SIM card now. The lover keeps going, asking if he's too heartbroken and desperate to even reply. He gloats, saying he warned him that Liu Ruyan only loves him and was just playing pretend with Fang Shuixing. He claims she was just acting, but the second Liu Ruyan speaks up, she absolutely shatters his ego, asking him who the hell he thinks he is. How dare he try to provoke a Shui? She realizes she's low-key giving this guy way too much credit. He clearly forgot his place, and she warns him that he better think twice. She demands to know exactly what trash he fed to Ah Shui, her voice dropping to absolute zero.
Every word hammered straight into Xiao Jibo's chest, setting his heart racing in pure panic.
Realizing he was absolutely cooked this time, Xiao Jibo started shaking uncontrollably from head to toe. He could barely even hold his phone, but told himself no way, their love was way too deep.
he convinced himself that Liu Ruyan would never actually hurt him. Once he processed that,
Xiao Jibo instantly got his confidence back, forcing out tears like a literal professional actor. Sounding incredibly hurt, he sobbed out, "Liu Ruyan, I am so sorry. I did not mean to do it. Fang Shuixing was the one who attacked me first. I was only defending myself, but I know it was my fault. I was wrong. Please do not do this to me," he whimpered, trying his usual manipulation tactics. He played weak for Liu Ruyan, letting out pathetic little sniffs every few seconds to look innocent. He sounded completely heartbroken, but his green tea tricks would not save him this time. Liu Ruyan was completely done with his garbage. She snapped, "Enough. You do not have to confess." I will find out myself anyway, and without giving Xiao Jibo any chance to explain?
She slammed the phone down. Right after that, Liu Ruyan sent her people to snatch Xiao Jibo's phone right out of his hands before he could even delete the evidence. The phone was gone in a flash. She opened the messages folder, and there it was.
Right there in black and white, she saw that over the last 2 short weeks, Xiao Jibo had sent Fang Shui countless toxic messages, showing off his private photos and texts. Staring at those disgusting and shameless pictures, Liu Ruyan felt her entire world spinning in pure disgust. Her brain went completely numb. What had she and Xiao Jibo even been doing? Just putting herself in Fang Shuixing's shoes made her realize how incredibly toxic and awful she had actually been.
The guilt was literally suffocating her, and she did not dare to imagine
how Fang Shuixing had managed to endure such intense pain. If the roles were reversed here, she probably would have gone crazy long ago. Liu Ruyan's face turned completely white. Her heart shattered completely. After what felt like an absolute eternity, she finally began to calm down, but her gorgeous face was now terrifyingly deadpan cold and emotionless. A literal murderous aura surrounded her, and she looked incredibly dangerous right now. Xiao Jibo was shaking in his boots, terrified of what Liu Ruyan would do to him for hurting Fang Shuixing. He did not dare to think, but then an idea hit him. His absolute last resort to save his own skin, he rushed to set up his live streaming gear. He quickly messed up his clothes and makeup, trying to look as pathetic as humanly possible. With everything perfectly staged, he clicked Go Live on his phone. He started weeping silently, looking like the ultimate victim. Everyone, please listen to me. I just got cheated on. My girlfriend actually has another man on the side, and now she is about to dump me entirely for him. I literally gave her my entire life. Why would she do something so cruel to me? She used to love me so much. How could she just throw me away like this? Spicing up the story with shameless lies, he successfully made himself out to be a totally heartbroken, betrayed victim. Talk about flipping the script. He blamed every single toxic thing he did onto Fang Shuixing instead. Paint himself as the pure victim. He cried out, "Guys, please help me. I am so terrified that my girlfriend is going to leave me. I really do not want to lose her to that other guy." Xiao Jibo put on the performance of a lifetime, acting incredibly hurt and helpless. Crying and sobbing hysterically on stream, he successfully fooled thousands of angry viewers who immediately rushed to back him up. Defending him? Bro, this side piece's tricks are honestly so disgusting. That woman is no good either, and by the way, I live right near the streamer's house. Netizens who are totally blinded by hype shout that they are coming to help. They actually rush straight to Xiao Jibo's neighborhood just to try and protect him. Xiao Jibo happily sends them his address one by one, and before long, the entire street below his apartment is totally packed with people. They shout for Xiao Jibo not to be scared, because even if she is a big shot, she is wrong. With us here, she absolutely will not be able to lay a single finger on you. Countless supporters shield Xiao Jibo with their bodies, but then, the next second, everything completely flips. Liu Ruyan steps out of her luxury car with a squad of black-suited bodyguards to clear out these meddling fools. Her face is completely ice-cold as she gives the order, and the bodyguards instantly move in like absolute beasts. They drag away every single person trying to protect Xiao Jibo, and honestly, not even a minute has passed. The space in front of Xiao Jibo is cleared, leaving him to desperately cry out, "Liu Ruyan, I am sorry. I know I did things I should not have done, but you know how deeply I love you. It is only because I love you so much that I lost my mind and said those awful things. All I ever wanted was to be with you," he gasps, weakly trying to wrap his arms around Liu Ruyan to hold her. He desperately clutches the hem of her coat, begging for mercy, but Liu Ruyan just lets out a cold sneer. She grabs Xiao Jibo tightly by the chin, squeezing his face with brutal force, leaving deep purple bruises on his skin as she snarls that his absolute worst mistake was ever messing with Shui. I recall warning you countless times before that Shui is my absolute life. Now that you have forced him to leave, you are going to face the brutal consequences. She coldly throws Xiao Jibo to the ground, sending him stumbling back several steps before he can even stand. He barely manages to steady his shaking legs, staring up at Liu Ruyan in absolute despair. He never expected her to be this heartless, crying out if Fang Shuixing is really that important to her. What about me, then? What was I to you after all those endless days and nights we shared?
You literally spent all those passionate nights in my bed, so you must have loved me too, right?
He screams at the top of his lungs, but she does not show him a single ounce of pity. Shut your mouth, Xiao Jibo, and you better remember this. You are nothing but a cheap toy I used for entertainment, so how dare you compare yourself to Shui? Liu Ruyan's eyes are terrifyingly cold, carrying a vicious glint that would make anyone shudder. Terrified, Xiao Jibo tries to run straight toward the crowd of onlookers. He thinks they will definitely save him since they literally just promised to stand up for him. But Liu Ruyan simply waves her hand, signaling her bodyguards to halt and let him run. No need to chase him, she says, watching his pathetic back as he desperately tries to escape. Her gaze is so cold and detached, it is like she is looking at a dead man. And indeed, the very next second, Xiao Jibo is plunged into a completely new level of despair. The crowd of supporters who were so incredibly angry a second ago suddenly snap back to reality. All of this is because of the massive influence and power of Liu Ruyan and her family empire. With the insane amount of constant news coverage out there, there is literally nobody who does not know her name. Even random kids playing on the street can easily tell you stories about how deeply she used to pamper her lover. After all, countless couples and lovers used to look up to their romance with pure envy. They even talked about it to their children, but the moment they saw Liu Ruyan in person, and the imposing bodyguard standing right behind her, they instantly realized exactly who she was. But what completely blows everyone's minds is the fact that their favorite sweet relationship blogger, Xiao Jibo,
is actually Liu Ruyan's side piece. And just like that, everything changes.
Their perfect image of Liu Ruyan completely shatters. But what really makes them furious is the actual truth. So Xiao Jibo actually used everyone's sympathy to frame Shui as a homewrecker. Absolutely toxic. And to think the crowd actually believed his lies earlier and even defended him. Now the crowd is getting absolutely furious because Xiao Jibo weaponized their genuine sympathy. He played them like fools, and they are about to show him what instant karma feels like. The moment Xiao Jibo tries to run, the angry mob completely surrounds him. Furious bystanders swarm him immediately, throwing punches and kicking him into the dirt. Those insults are absolutely brutal and too wild to repeat. Calling him a disgusting homewrecker was the nicest thing said, as everyone stands up for Shui. Meanwhile, Liu Ruyan just watches the beatdown before slowly walking over like a boss. Her bodyguards part the crowd as she casually lifts Xiao Jibo's chin with the tip of her heel, coldly ordering him to apologize to Shui on every single platform. Disappearing from her life forever is his only option, leaving absolutely zero room for negotiation. Honestly, Xiao Jibo has always been completely powerless in front of her. The guy just lies there, trashed on the ground, not even trying to fight back, hoping that her past feelings for him might give him a way out. But honestly, Liu Ruyan is finally waking up and has other plans. Knowing she already hurt Shui too much, if she ever wants him back. No more games. She has to cut all ties with Xiao Jibo immediately. Otherwise, she will lose Shui forever. Coldly hardening her heart, she warns him to make a public apology to Shui, or she will ruin his entire life. And soon after, she gets her wish. Xiao Jibo's crying apology video goes completely viral across the entire internet. Even after getting her way, she can't even smile because apologies change nothing. It won't work. Shui is gone and she still can't find him. Our boy Shui has literally vanished into thin air. Without those online traces, she would start believing his entire existence was just a dream. Total regret. If only she hadn't hooked up with Xiao Jibo the day Shui left. Things wouldn't have ended up in this completely pathetic state. Why did she let that toxic villain seduce her in the first place? At this point, she's just drowning her massive regrets in a bar, chugging bottle after bottle. Too miserable. Sleep has been impossible for her for weeks now. Every corner of her house still reminds her of Shui, making it too painful to stay. Nothing works. No matter how much she drinks, she stays painfully sober. Hugging a bottle, she bitterly whispers Shui's name.
Crying out apologies because she knows he always hated her drinking.
Begging him to just show up and yell at her again. Desperate and crying like a child, she promises to throw the alcohol away.
Hearing about her breakdown, her wealthy friends bring in a bunch of handsome guys.
Hoping one of them can comfort Liu Ruyan and get set for life. A woman in a red dress whispers the plan as 16 handsome men nod eagerly. They all crowd close, and one especially good-looking guy sits right next to Liu Ruyan.
Trying to get intimate, he wraps his arms around her like a smooth operator.
Suddenly, her expression drops as she grabs a heavy glass bottle. She literally folds him with it. Nah, that is insane. Blood is dripping everywhere.
And before he can even scream, she slaps him across the face in pure rage.
Who gave you the nerve? Get lost. Instantly, everyone in the VIP room scattered like frightened birds.
They literally scrambled out.
Getting felt up outside was way better than being beaten bloody here.
Empty-handed anyway.
Liu Ruyan looked absolutely furious. She pinched her nose, cracked open another bottle, and started chugging. Her friends exchanged glances and sighed. Why are you doing this? Xiao Jibo made a mistake, but this is too much. Do you seriously love Fang Shuixing that much? He is just a guy. With your status, you can get anyone. Just let him go. Why chase him? Show him instead. You can have plenty of men and live a much better life without him.
That is how you get him to crawl back, or find someone who looks like him.
Train them to act like him. What is the difference? They casually tossed out these comforting words. Over the years, they had witnessed her intense devotion to Fang Shuixing. Their men were playthings. She was different. But asking this proved they secretly wanted that kind of pure love too. They had envied her countless times before. The genuine love between her and Fang Shuixing made them burn with jealousy. With their wild reputations, they knew they would never find true love. Men were just disposable toys to them. But Liu Ruyan was the outlier among them. They wanted to drag her down. Her messing around with Xiao Jibo meant she was finally one of them. They could not grasp why she was suddenly drowning in regret. He is just one guy. What is so special? But hearing them dismiss Fang Shuixing like he was nothing? No, they messed up. That triggered her. She grabbed a heavy wine bottle and started smashing heads. Once she snapped, absolutely nobody was getting away clean. Even totally wasted, her combat skills were terrifyingly sharp. Brutal, landing with heavy impact. Anyone trying to stop her got their face completely rearranged. Bodies lay everywhere. Fang Shuixing is my life. If I ever hear you disrespect him again, I will personally ruin your entire families. Her threat was cold as ice, plunging the room into dead silence. Everyone was shaking. They had never seen her lose it like this. They cowered like terrified mice. Only when she started drinking quietly again did the suffocating tension lift. Still bitter and nursing her bruises, one woman slipped out for the manager. See this photo? Get me lookalikes. The closer the match, the better. Bring them now. She tapped Fang Shuixing's picture with a sneer, sending the file over. The bar scrambled to deliver. Soon, a young guy, looking half like him, arrived. He knocked, asking for their order. So this timid young waiter starts pushing a cart of drinks into the room. As soon as he opens the door, everyone in the VIP lounge is literally stunned. This new guy looks almost identical to Shui, just way more naive. The schemers smirk and gesture for him to walk over to Liu Ruyan. They are absolutely sure she won't reject him, as the boy asks if she ordered the wine. He stands right in front of Liu Ruyan, calling out to her in a soft voice. Liu Ruyan slowly raises her eyes, and for just a single split second, she honestly believes Shui is standing there, gasping that he is finally back. She cries out that she has been searching all of Jingxi but could not find him. She throws herself directly into his arms, tears soaking right into his shirt. The boy shivers in fear, but she suddenly realizes something is very wrong. This guy has none of Shui's vibe. He is not her man. Liu Ruyan instantly shoves him away, coldly glaring at everyone in the room.
She's furious. She tells them she just warned them, yet they still chose to play games. In that case, she says, they are officially no longer friends from this day on.
From now on, they will only be rivals, and she blames them for everything. She yells that if not for their bad advice, she would have never betrayed Shui.
Everyone's heart instantly drops because the Liu family is currently the undisputed king of Jinxi. Crossing Liu Ruyan means total ruin, and they all start looking at each other in panic. Honestly, you can't even make this up. These fake friends actually start slapping their own faces to beg for mercy.
They are desperately wishing they had never done such a brain-dead thing.
More of them slap their own faces hard because they regret this so deeply. If they had just kept their mouths shut and done absolutely nothing tonight, and just quietly kept her company, they never would have ended up in this mess. And if they had never pressured her to hook up with other guys back then?
It's too late. Saying anything now is completely useless.
Liu Ruyan eventually stumbles back home, drunk, alone.
She tries to restore the photos of Shui that he had thrown away.
She prints out the ones with backups, but some are gone forever with no copies left.
Gone, just like her desperate attempt to restore this house. It is just not the same anymore, because without Shui, the place is dead. And right here, guys, is where she uncovers the devastating truth of why he actually left. From this exact window angle, you can see every single corner of the small garden below.
She realizes that on the day Shui left, he saw her kissing Xiao Jibo.
Her heart aches intensely as she clutches her chest, struggling to even breathe. The pain keeps her focused as she immediately calls her assistant for updates on Shui. The assistant apologizes that they found absolutely nothing, and she slowly hangs up.
Same disappointing result. Nothing.
She sent tons of people to investigate his projects, but Shui had already wiped his ID.
He even used a temporary identification card just to get through the airport that day. On top of that, he bought several different tickets to fly to completely opposite corners of the world. The Liu family might be filthy rich, but their overseas connections are practically non-existent. Honestly, he's like a walking cheat code when it comes to disappearing. Gone. It is as if Shui has completely vanished from the face of the earth. Their marriage is officially over now, and that divorce paper is the absolute final nail. It was actually just a final parting gift to completely draw a line with Liu Ruyan. The ironic part is she literally can only hold on to the divorce papers to miss him, reading them multiple times a day. Constantly mumbling to herself, begging to know where Shui actually is now. She knows she messed up.
All she wants is to see him once more. Everyone who ever heard him paid a devastating price, so she begs for one last look.
After crying out, Liu Ruyan finally passes out cold. Once news of their divorce drops, the internet explodes with fans claiming they do not believe in love anymore. Countless shippers used to root for them, absolutely obsessed with their seemingly perfect romance. They even bought company products, but this scandal changes everything. Now the fan base turns on them instantly. Shady photos of Liu Ruyan and her side piece Xiao Jibo are leaked online. Fans are disgusted.
Honestly, they feel so betrayed, they just want to drag her name through the mud now.
Angry comments flood the company accounts, causing the Liu Group stock prices to absolutely plummet. Even that famous Mercury watch is now despised. What used to be the ultimate symbol of true love is now treated like absolute trash. A foreign collector gets so furious at the drama that he dumps the watch at a cheap fire sale.
He only bought it in the first place because of their legendary love story.
Total failure. Hearing this, she quickly buys it back.
She can almost see Shui's proud face again, remembering the intense love she felt making it.
Back then, she hand-picked the materials and drew up the blueprints entirely by herself. After personally overseeing every step, she had top master designers polish and refine the final piece. It took endless modifications and intense communication to finally finish this priceless masterpiece, symbolizing her deep, tragic devotion. Wondering how they fell apart, she desperately clutches the watch tightly against her chest. But the metal remains freezing cold. The watch had been kept in pristine condition. Yet there is not a single trace of Shui on it, driving her to total despair. How is she supposed to find him now? It feels like an impossible puzzle. Then she remembers the internet. As long as he goes online, she can track him down.
Someone is bound to drop a tip, so she immediately posts a massive missing person bounty online. She offers 200,000 yuan for any solid info about his life abroad, and 500,000 yuan for a single recent photo. The moment it goes live, netizens immediately start mocking her for cheating on him. People laugh that her company stock is crashing.
Talk about a cheap marketing stunt.
Most viewers assume her past love declarations to him were fake. People start pitying him, calling it insane that he had to deal with her cheating.
Most people just mock her. Greedy clout chasers flood her inbox with fake clues. But eventually, someone actually slides into her messages with a real solid lead. Once the internet realized the cash reward was actually real, everyone and their mom started hunting for Shui's location. Obviously, Shui caught wind of this too. Finding out your toxic ex, Liu Ruyan, is dropping bags just to track you down? Absolute clown behavior. He wasn't touched at all, honestly. It just made him super annoyed. Like, he literally deleted his entire identity. How much clearer could his boundaries be? A good horse never runs backward, and he had zero plans to ever forgive her anyway. Reading Liu Ruyan's tearful apologies just felt completely hilarious to him.
If she supposedly knew she messed up, then why did she act like nothing was wrong for so long? Seriously, so many times.
Shui actually wished she would just man up and admit she was in love with someone else. At least they could have split peacefully. Who knew she was out here separating her heart and her body? Getting physically cozy with her bestie Xiao Jibo while constantly claiming she only loved Shui? Gross! Did she think playing him was a game? Fine, then Shui was about to play along. He leaked some fresh photos and locations to a few random people, letting them pass the info to her. Smiling coldly, he calculated the timing and boarded his flight to get far away first. Across the ocean, those high-def pictures landed right in Liu Ruyan's hands. Seeing the exact locations, she was so incredibly thrilled that her hands started shaking. She thought Shui was finally forgiving her and waiting for her to come find him. She booked the very next flight out to his destination and sprinted straight to the airport. Both planes took off around the same time, but their flight paths and destinations were completely opposite. The moment she landed, she felt this weird wave of nostalgia. She kept asking her assistant to double-check her outfit to make sure everything looked perfect. Fixing her makeup, she headed toward Shui's cozy homestay as a romantic sea breeze blew by. Her heart was pounding so hard, she was honestly more nervous than when they first confessed. Would he forgive her? She convinced herself he absolutely would. They had been deeply in love for so many years, after all. How could a bond like that just break? She was really out here gaslighting herself. Completely ignoring how cleanly Shui had cut her off, she kept repeating the same lie. He still loved her. He was just acting tough and waiting for an apology. If she just apologized sincerely, they would definitely go right back to how they used to be. She finally arrived at the homestay, greeted by the gentle, crisp chiming of wind bells. The place looked unbelievably beautiful and romantic, like something straight out of a dream. But honestly, she was way too anxious to even care about the scenery. Maybe if they were visiting together as a couple, she would have stopped to appreciate it. Heart in her throat, she gave the front door a soft knock. She already had her whole apology speech prepped, but minutes passed and nobody answered. He's probably just taking a nap and didn't hear me, she muttered to herself. She knocked a few more times, but the absolute silence started getting to her. Cold sweat started forming on her palms as panic slowly began to set in. Still nothing. At this point, her mind was completely racing with worst-case scenarios. She tried to push the door open, but it was locked completely tight. Right next to it was a sign saying closed today. At first, she literally thought he hung that up so they could have some private, uninterrupted time together. No outside guests, just them. But boy, was she dead wrong. That sign was his way of shutting her out entirely, and only then did she finally realize she got played. Shui never had any intention of seeing her again. She just wanted to use this method to reject him. Every single thing she does practically screams that she has no plans of forgiving him. Liu Ruyan stares at the guest house in disbelief, remembering when they were together and made promises. They wanted to open a guest house by the sea just to feel the breeze. Just holding each other, living a quiet and simple life of pure happiness.
Back then, knowing she loved it, he bought up several coastal spots.
He got all these coastal places just to take her on weekend trips. She used to smile so much and get genuinely surprised by every single trip. Her sweet words had him floating on cloud 9. But seriously, when did it all fall apart?
When did they stop going out together? Liu Ruyan gets totally lost in thought. Ever since she ended up with Xiao Jibo, he barely spent any time with her.
They never visited those spots again, and basically every single promise he made was broken.
The guilt is eating Liu Ruyan alive. She absolutely despises her past self.
He worked so hard to win her over, knowing her deepest fears about relationships. She knew how a broken home terrified her, yet she still could not stay faithful. He had faced so many temptations before, but he never even looked at them. Why could they not just keep things that way? Now Liu Ruyan is filled with regret.
She wishes she could drag her past self out and beat her for not staying loyal.
None of this mess would have happened. Suddenly, a slick-looking guy spots her.
Seeing how gorgeous and powerful Liu Ruyan looks, his eyes instantly light up. He has not seen a woman with such stunning, unique vibes in ages.
The blonde guy smirks and asks if she wants to grab a drink. He actually reaches out, trying to slide his hand onto her shoulder.
She dodges him like the plague, radiating cold energy and telling him to get lost. But the cold shoulder does not stop him. It just makes him want her even more. He tries to press closer to test her limits, but watch what happens next.
Liu Ruyan slaps him across the face in absolute disgust, giving him a terrifying glare. Realizing she is built different and not to be messed with, the guy backs off. But Liu Ruyan still feels completely dirty, and the disgust is physically sickening to her.
She quickly checks into the nearest hotel, letting the scalding hot water pour over her.
It is like she cannot even feel it. She just lets the boiling water wash over her. Her skin is turning bright red, but she just keeps scrubbing herself raw. She starts sobbing, begging him in her mind not to think she is dirty.
She mutters that she truly regrets everything, proving she instantly rejected the guy today. She rejected him without a second thought, begging him not to abandon her.
Liu Ruyan mumbles the same desperate plea over and over. Meanwhile, her phone explodes. Tons of netizens are flooding her phone with photos and tips on his whereabouts. With such a massive wave of spam, she can barely sift through what is real. Most of these people are just chasing the massive cash reward she offered.
Even with a team hired to filter the spam, the workload is absolutely insane. She is starting to regret this chaotic method, but honestly, she was totally out of options.
Unless he decides to show himself, the internet is her only hope of finding him.
She has 0 leads on his location. Liu Ruyan just sits on the bed.
She is practically drowning in despair when her assistants suddenly send a message. They send over a few photos claiming someone just leaked his actual location.
Jiang was spotted at a church in Guo Bay City, and people are already searching. You need to get here as fast as possible. Hearing this, Liu Ruyan felt a spark of hope ignite again, whether it was real or fake.
He had to try anyway, because he couldn't let go of this single shred of hope. Honestly, without Jiang in his life, he could barely survive a single day.
Jiang was basically his water and oxygen, completely indispensable to his survival.
Being able to hold on for this long meant he was already struggling at his absolute limit. Just like a fish out of water, he had to make one final desperate struggle. Liu Ruyan hadn't slept properly in days. Every single day that Jiang was gone, he would only pass out for a quick hour or two when his body literally collapsed from exhaustion. He was terrified of missing even a tiny update on the flight out of the country. Still grinding through work tasks on the flight, he rushes out as soon as the plane lands. But while grabbing his bags, he has no clue that Jiang is actually boarding a flight in this exact airport. Talk about a cruel plot twist. They missed each other again. As Jiang's flight takes off, Liu Ruyan rushes to the church area, desperately asking around at every single hotel nearby. Nobody had seen Jiang. Liu Ruyan kept searching for what felt like hours.
He finally gets a solid lead at a small corner hotel.
The receptionist told him that the handsome Chinese man had actually checked out today. She said he was too late, and if only he had arrived a few hours earlier, he could have caught him, the friendly desk clerk added. Liu Ruyan froze in shock. He was so close, yet missed it by a hair.
Just a few hours difference and he would have been reunited with Zhang. Was fate really this cruel, denying him even a single glance of his husband? After thanking them, Liu Ruyan left completely devastated, wandering the foreign streets like a lost soul.
In that dark moment, his mind drifted back to the days before he met Jiang.
Back then, he never imagined he could love anyone this deeply, and marriage wasn't even on his radar.
He thought he'd stay single forever, but the very moment he laid eyes on Zhang,
the poor guy knew he was falling incredibly deep. For the first time, his heart raced, giving him a taste of what true happiness felt like.
during his pursuit, even a simple glance from Jiang
would make his entire week. Honestly, if that past Liu Ruyan knew how terribly he would treat Zhang later, he would have hated himself. The regret is low-key heartbreaking. If only he had a chance to start over. There was no way he would lose his way again. But life has no restart. Standing on that unfamiliar street, he looked completely lost, like a helpless child. Is he going to keep searching? You bet. But where does he even start? Liu Ruyan began asking at countless hotels. He started telling them that the man in the photo was his husband, who was angry with him, so they got separated. He asked if they could share any of his contact details. Liu Ruyan pleaded sincerely. The receptionist hesitated for a long moment. A fat stack of cash quickly put a massive smile on her face. She handed over the contact info immediately, but when he dialed the number, it just kept ringing. He must still be in the air, Liu Ruyan told himself to calm his racing heart. Desperate to prove how sorry he was, he actually posted a public apology letter online for the world to see. She posted a whole breakdown of how she messed up step by step, claiming she finally realized her true feelings. Talk about a complete turnaround. She actually seemed incredibly sincere and fully admitted to all her mistakes. Every single day, she kept spamming new public apology letters, desperate for our boy Shui to see them. And guess what? Netizens actually started falling for it, shifting from doubts to feeling bad for her. They were literally defending Liu Ruyan, but when Shui saw those sob story letters, pure comedy. If he had never packed up and left, would she ever apologize? No shot. She would have kept wiling out, going from Xiao Jibo to even more guys. Cheating is either 0 or infinite times. Why on earth should he ever forgive her? Honestly, his life right now is perfect. He finally achieved his long-lost dreams. Running a cozy seaside guest house surrounded by cute pets. Making cool new friends, or sometimes doing absolutely nothing. Just staying in, painting the beautiful scenery. Seriously, after leaving her, he is finally living his best life. The online drama does not even matter. He knows exactly what he wants now, having finally escaped. There is absolutely no way he is going back. Suddenly, his plane lands. The second he turns off airplane mode, a very familiar phone number flashes. Yep, Liu Ruyan is calling. He hangs up and blocks her instantly. But this girl is ridiculously persistent. Just blocking her was not enough. Every single time he blocks a number, she just uses a burner. Honestly, considering how hard she chased him back then, this obsession makes sense. The spam calls keep flooding in, but our boy does not care. He just finds it annoying. Is she doing this just to make herself feel better? Back then, he loved her relentless pursuit. But that was then. Now, all those once cute traits just feel incredibly toxic and suffocating. After hanging up 1,000,000 times, he finally loses his patience. Liu Ruyan, we are completely done, he snaps, cutting her off. That icy rejection immediately silences all her planned apologies, leaving her panicked. She stands there speechless, completely frozen. But even after that brutal rejection, she is so overwhelmed she almost bursts into tears. Why? Because she has not heard his voice in forever, only seeing online fan photos. Hearing his real voice again literally makes her lose her breath. She finally whimpers out a pathetic, shaky apology. Shui, I was so wrong. I should have kept my distance from other guys. I already kicked him out of my life. Please forgive me. She literally begs, but our boy stays ice cold. He just lets out a dry laugh and slowly says, "Sure, I forgive you." This completely unexpected plot twist absolutely blows Liu Ruyan's mind. Really? She gasps, too excited to even notice the sarcasm dripping from his voice.
immediately pressing for confirmation, but he just sneers. Isn't this exactly what you wanted to hear?
I forgive you. Satisfied now? Great. Now let's stop here.
Seriously, if she just wants a cheap apology, he can say it all day long. But getting back together? Not a chance. A broken mirror can never be glued back together without the cracks showing.
With that, he hangs up, completely shutting down her desperate pleading. Shui once told her that once he stops loving someone, even their suicide would not change his mind. Realizing this too late, Liu Ruyan panics and texts him, offering to buy Shui his favorite glutinous rice cakes. She desperately spams his phone, begging him to forgive her. Shui replies, saying he does not even like eating them anymore. She is completely shattered. Her hands are literally shaking so bad she can barely even hold on to her phone. She tries to type out another message, only to realize she is blocked yet again. Talk about a brutal reality check. Finding one specific person in this massive world is literally like searching for a needle in a haystack. But her search is cut short. Her domestic company is suddenly facing major trouble. Meanwhile, her toxic ex Xiao Jibo is losing his mind after being dumped, getting dragged hard by everyone online. He is a total outcast now. Whenever he shows his face, people look at him with pure disgust. He cannot even find a job. He can barely survive. Everything Liu Ruyan gifted him is ruthlessly snatched back. Even his bank account is completely drained, leaving him with absolutely no way out. This pushes him to make a desperate move. He officially reports her for tax evasion. He also exposes her for embezzlement, teaming up with several rival families she had previously crushed. Back then, she ruthlessly crushed anyone who dared to disrespect Shui. She completely destroyed the families of her former friends who had insulted him in the past. Now that they finally have leverage, they are going all out for payback.
Xiao Jibo does not care if he is being used as a pawn, as long as he gets his revenge.
If his life is ruined, she is going down with him. Reporting her is not enough, so he creates a new social account to livestream his sob story and spill tea. He exposes all their messy drama directly to the netizens. Instantly, the Liu Group, which was finally starting to recover, is thrown back into total chaos. This massive scandal completely ruins Liu Ruyan's public image. Honestly, you love to see it. She is forced to return home to face the investigation, completely halting her search for Shui. Things at home are a complete mess, with corporate traders popping up everywhere. This is a massive blow to her empire, and several rival companies are already circling like vultures. Everyone wants a piece of her empire. Even if the group survives, they are finished. They will definitely suffer catastrophic losses, but a corporate giant like this remains a massive threat. Even a tiny drop of their market share is enough to make competitors rich. With enemies watching her every move, she is completely overwhelmed by issues both inside and outside. She goes 3 straight months without any decent sleep, especially after putting Xiao Jibo behind bars for defamation, but the massive official investigation into her entire company continues to drag on forever. They uncover massive financial loopholes, slapping her company with a 70-million-yuan fine. The crisis finally blows over, but her company has already lost a massive chunk of its workforce. Countless clients backed out during the probe, leaving her entire empire completely crippled. Now, her grandfather had retired long ago to live in peace up on a secluded mountain. But this disaster forces him back, only to find his granddaughter looking completely drained. The old man sighs in deep disappointment, waiting until the business stabilizes a bit. He calls Liu Ruyan to his study, slamming his heavy wooden cane onto the floor with a loud thud. She drops to her knees, her face completely pale as he calls out her name. Is this really how I raised you? I warned you countless times to never lose your true self. Those who love others will thrive. How could you break your promise to me? Elder Liu is losing his mind, his chest heaving with pure rage. He can barely breathe, slamming his cane onto the floor repeatedly. Liu Ruyan keeps her eyes down, her voice cracked as she apologizes. She admits she wronged Shui, but Elder Liu just shakes his head. He demands the family rod, a terrifying spiked black club. Just one hit would rip her skin open, but the butler swings anyway. Liu Ruyan groans in pain. Blood instantly starts flowing. She tries to grit her teeth, but her body is just too weak.
She sways and passes out immediately, which is crazy because back when she was a teenager,
She took over 10 brutal strikes and survived. Elder Liu panics instantly.
he frantically calls their private doctor to treat her with medicine. Liu Ruyan finally drifts off, but her dreams drag her right back to the past. She is right back at her wedding day, dressed in her finest. They are exchanging rings, but right as the priest asks Shui the question, asking if he will take her as his wife, she expects a yes. Instead, Shui turns, no hesitation. He says he cannot do it. He calls it off, pulls his hand away, and walks out.
She begs him not to go, promising to treat him right.
She promises to buy his favorite sweet mochi every single day. She is offering him absolutely everything just to make him stay. But no matter how hard she begs, Shui does not look back. She runs after him, grabbing only thin air. Even the wedding rings vanish from her hands, and suddenly she enters.